لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفر ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Alhamdulillah, we're here today again dealing with the complete or the total Arabic class. I forget the name that we chose for it. Anyway, this is the Arabic class where we cover everything. And I'm excited because now we're on a very important king. We're doing the master letters, going through the letters of the alphabet, and we are on King Kalmun. Now with King Kalmun, there's a lot that has to be taken into consideration. Okay? Pay attention to King Kalmun, because in it are three letters that the ulama of tajweed and qira'ah speak about these letters in a lot of detail. For example, the letter lam. Kalmun has kaf, lam, mim, noon. Lam is dealt with because it has the lam of Allah. Lam is dealt with because it has lam qamariyya wa lam shamsiyya. So it has tarqiq, it has different types of rules which we'll get into as we go through it. Then we have mim. We have gunna mimin, we have the gunna for the mim, and the rules for the mim are just amazing. And also there's three rules for the mim actually. Then we have the noon, okay? Noon is the letter of tajweed. I call it the tajweed letter because all the other letters react off of noon. So we need to pay attention to these letters, and let's just get right down to it, inshallah. Bismillah. If we can go through the letters, we can put it on the board if you want. If we go through the letters, we'll find Abjad, Hawaz, Huttiya, Kaliman, Sa'fas, Qurishat, Thakhid, Dadir. Now we went over these before. Did we get through King Kalmun before?
I did. Yeah.
Okay, well we're going to do it a little bit different today. Okay, because I edited it. Put it on the board. And inshallah, one of the things we'll recognize from the King Kalmun is the kaf. We spoke about kaf, I remember before. I didn't know if we did the whole letters, but I remember kaf. One of the things we have with kaf is that the sound comes from what? The tongue raising up, soaking, touching the upper palate. Okay, now remember, we're talking about the anatomy. The upper part of the mouth is called the upper palate, and then pulling away. So the sound comes once you pull away. And I say, you go like that. Your tongue goes up. The middle part of your tongue, this is your tongue. I'm using this as a tongue. The middle part is a cross width. We're not talking about the middle part like that. Okay? Cross width. So that cross width is going up, and then it pulls away. You make that ka sound. You hear where I'm starting from? Okay, so now let's go through it. It says King Kalmun. And as for King Kalmun, he was the chief of all the other chiefs. You have Abjad, Hawaz, Huttiya, Kalman. Kalman or Kalmun, he was the chief of them all. Even though Abu Jad was the oldest, King Kalmun was the chief king of all the other kings. Okay, just as an interesting point. It doesn't help you learn the letters any better, just familiarize yourself with them more. So we have kaf. Kafun, the crazy clacking sound that gets caught up in my mouth. Just raise the tongue, the middle back, then pull away to hear it crack. With ikhfa as its tajweed rule, and 20 as its numeral. Qul hamsun fatun istifal. To cut a calf is criminal. Say cuckoo, kitten, cricket squad. The shidda is inside, they cried. Some coca-colored cats, they screamed. It's something what the kafun needs. Now go back down and we'll talk about this line for line. We're looking for some things in each one of these poems. In each one of these poems, we're looking to find out what? We're looking to find out the tajweed rule. We're looking to find out where exactly is the word articulated from. What do we say with Basmala and Alhamdulillah, then blessings on the Prophet? I'll have my way with you today concerning description. So we get the sifat. The sifat, descriptions of their numerals, the numeric value. Points of articulation, which is the makhraj, right? The makhraj and the tajweed rule. Points of articulation, as each one comes in as they does, it has its own sensation. And then we have some words. Now we spoke about this from the beginning, and now we're going to continue to speak about it right now. The sifat we're going to get to at the end. First thing we find are words. In this poem, you and the ones afterwards, you will find words in these poems that help you to articulate the Arabic word or Arabic sound through English words. Does that make sense? You're going to articulate the Arabic sound through English words that you're already familiar with, insha'Allah ta'ala. So we have kafun, the crazy clacking sound that gets caught up in my mouth. So he says kaf. Everybody can say that. Kaf. Say it. Kafun, the crazy. Say crazy. Crazy. See, that's, as you say that word crazy, you're pronouncing kaf properly. Clacking. Here again, you know those sounds. You know how to say that? This is the proper way to say it. Now say crazy clacking. Now put your mind there and think about what action you're doing when you say crazy clacking. Your tongue is going up, right? That's the only point I want you to recognize. At this point, your tongue is doing this. Crazy clacking sound that gets caught up. It gets caught up. The reason why he says up, because you have to raise your tongue all the way up to the top part of your mouth. Say calf. You see? And like I said, the middle back, it's not the front, but it's the middle back part of the tongue. Where you're placing it is in the middle front. So if your tongue, if this is the upper part of your mouth, now this becomes the upper part of your mouth. Your tongue is rising up and it's going to go right here. This is your throat. This is the middle. You want it to go up a little. Say calf. Say ick. You see, your tongue is going up more to the front. It's not going in the back. It's not going straight to the middle. It's inclining to the front a little bit. But what part of that? The middle back part of your tongue. So it raises up that way. You see that? Say ick. And see, your tongue goes down. So let's go through it. Kafun, the crazy clacking sound that gets caught up in my mouth. Just raise the tongue, the middle back. Then pull away to hear it. Say ick. See, the sound doesn't come until you pull away. Say ick. 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 So you see, so then it says, with ikhfa as its tajweed rule and 20 as its numeral. So we know off the bat that ikhfa, which is a tajweed terminology, is tied to kaf. We're not going to get into that right now because that's not the objective of this lesson. The objective of this lesson is to learn everything that's tied to kaf, not necessarily to teach the tajweed rules. Tajweed is taught in its own class, right? So, 20 is its numeral. So, 20 is the number for this one. As you see that it goes in the Abjadiyya, 1 to 10, then 10 to 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, that way. And then afterwards, it goes to 100, 200, 300, 400. It goes that way. This is the way the Abjadiyya follows. Alhamdulillah. So then it goes and says, Kol hamsun fatun istifal, to cut a calf is criminal. He starts to name some of the sifat. Now let's deal with that. Hamsun. What is hamsun? Hamsun is the whispering sound. Everybody say whisper. What is a whisper? It's, right? It's a low sound that seeps, right? So why is it tied to calf? Say ick. As you pull away, what whisper here means is that once you've stopped, the sound has it. The action you do is you pull away, but then the sound's still there. Say ick. Say crack. You hear it? And so then it says, to cut a calf is criminal. What does it mean to cut a calf? Say ick and don't pull away. Raise it up, but don't pull away. You've cut the sound. Do you understand that? You don't cut a calf. You let the calf fully extend itself. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's what's meant right there. This is fathun istifal, meaning your tongue starts off flat, and istifal and fath is what? To open your mouth. Say ick. You see how you have to open your mouth this way? You have to flatten your tongue up and then comes back down. That's what the istifal is, okay? Even though it rises up, it drops right back down. Okay, and it has to start from the flatness. Right? You got me on that? Now here goes some more words. It says, say, cuckoo, kitten, cricket squad. Say that. Cuckoo, kitten. It's a tongue twister, right? Cuckoo, kitten, cricket squad. But what you're doing, in actuality, you're practicing the pronunciation of calf. Say cuckoo. You see that? That's with the dhamma. That's calf with dhamma. Ku. Say kitten. That's calf with kesra. Cricket is at the end. You have that cricket squad. The calf is just in there. Okay, it's not for any particular kefeta kesra reasoning. But here you have the pronunciation of calf in English, how you would say it in Arabic. Cuckoo, kitten, cricket squad. So these are sounds that we are already familiar with. We don't have any problems with calf. The shidda is inside, they cried. Now we know shidda is one of the sifat of calf, meaning you have to do it with some force. When you say ik, say ik. You see, you have to do it with some force. There has to be some strength there, or the sound will not emerge. So that's why shidda is in there. So some cocoa-colored cats, they scream. Say that. Cocoa-colored cats, they screamed. Again, this is just a funny way of just learning how to pronounce the letter kaf. All those sounds that you see are English words that everybody knows how to pronounce, but they may not recognize that this is the exact way you say kaf. Then it says, it's something what the kafun needs. Something is restraint. The whole time you're doing on control, I should say also. Here, the mindset is with control. You're controlling your movement as you emerge with the sound of the calf. So you go, ik. You hear your nose is controlling. Your nose has air in it and you're holding it. Pay attention. Say calf. Ik. Thick. You see, you notice now, the point I want you to notice is that you're holding air inside your nose. Say thick. Tick. Tack. You're ending off at the makhraj, but you notice that air is being held in your nose. And that's what that is called, samtun, that restraint, that control. You're not just breathing any way you like. Does that make sense? Can we go on? Next letter. Okay, lamb. It says, lots of lovers of Allah love living life a lie. 30s right for lamun, listen lively, learn the line. Idgham for lamb completely without any compromise. For gunna to improperly take us by surprise. You got to go down, bro. The canine and incisors inner up and on the right. The edges where the lamb hides and on the gums very light. Tawassatun and jahrun, fatun istifal. Inhiraf al-lamun, and with dhalaqun say el. Okay? So let's go back down and do this again. It goes like this. Understand the line. Lots of lovers of Allah love living life a lie. Here you see lamb. Lamb, 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 lamb. The line makes sense. It says, lots of lovers of Allah love living life a lie. Here, the purpose for this line is twofold. One, for people to think about it. Second is for you to practice the letter lam. So you have a line almost all completely built up of the lam. What it means, it says here that people who believe in Allah and love Allah, what happens? For the most part, they live their life doing other than what they would like to do. Especially when you come to the United States and you start doing riba and you start, working in jobs that do haram and all types of things. You start shaving your beard, you start dressing funny and not properly following the sunnah. And you say you don't like that, but you continue to do that and you say you love Allah. It's an oxymoronic statement for people to think about and reflect upon. But our purpose here, for the purpose of the class, is for us to learn how to say lamb. Lovers of Allah, the lamb of Allah, has to be taken into consideration. It has its own pronunciation. When you say Allah, say Allah. You may not notice it, but I want you to notice it. Min al-an fa sa'at, from now on. Whenever you say Allah or Kitabullah, say Kitabullah. You're saying the lamb with a fakhm, a round mouth. You're saying it like you're making the lamb fat. Think of a big fat lamb. Okay? Say Allah. You're not saying it like when you say A'udhu billahi. You say billahi. Say billahi. Now you're saying it real skinny. Tarqiq. Okay? The lam switches. Whenever there's a kasra preceding the lam of Allah, meaning the lam that's in the name of Allah, we say billah. And with the a sound and the la. Okay? We call this thinning up the lam. Making it what? Thin, like me. Okay? But when we say Allah, say Allah. Now you got a big lamb. I can imagine us being one lamb. Now if it's one, it's billah, thin. If it's Allah, you see how we made the lamb big now? We're pretending to be a lamb. Okay? So just okay. But that's just a visual for you guys to understand. So whenever it's Allah or Allah, it's like that. But when it's billah, it's a. So do you understand that? Everybody got that? That's another point we want to just mention with the lam. That's why lam is a very important letter. And the ulama spend a lot of energy reflecting and talking about this letter. Next we have 30s right for lam, listen lively, learn the line. It says, again, all throughout these poems we're putting the lam sound in there so we can practice saying lam. Okay? And make the adjustments on your paper. Okay? Make the adjustments if you like. Okay, jazakumullah khair. The numeric value of lam is what? 30. As I said, it goes 1 to 10, then 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, to 100, and then from 100, 200, 300, to 1,000. That's how the Arabic numbers go. Okay? Every letter has a numeric value going in that order. So that's how we follow it. Anyway, so 30 is for lam. Listen lively, learn the line. This is again a reflection of the first line. Go back to the first line. And also, here it mentions, but we find that this has all the lambs in there so you could pronounce it again. Okay, now go up again. Rise up, please. Idgham for lam completely without any compromise. Here you're learning the details of tajweed in a real beginner format. Lam, the tajweed rule, thank you, jazakumullah khair. The tajweed rule for lam is what they call it? Good. There is no idgham completely. It's complete idgham. I got confused right quick. For lam, it's called complete idgham. Now, idgham means dakhala shay fi shay, but I'm not going to really get it. It's to enter something on something else. But as a rule, there's two types, right? Incomplete idgham and complete idgham. Okay? It's a tajweed rule. Here, the lam has complete idgham. What does that mean? For you as a beginner, all it means is that there is no gunnah in the idgham. There is no gunnah when you're dealing with the lam. Okay? No gunnah when you're dealing with what? Lam. So what we want to do here is familiarize you with this concept when you learn the letter, not later on down the line. You may not fully understand the concept now, but that's not the point now. The point now is for you to learn the alphabet, right? And to become familiar with the things attached to that. Afterwards, when you start studying, those numbers that I keep pointing to will become very, very important to you. Because you'll see them all over the place when you study classics. There won't be a classic you study that doesn't use those letters as numbers somewhere. Or some sheikh who organized his work and he put first point alif, second point ba, third point jim. The next one, fourth point, del. You'll be able to follow that all the way down. So you'll get more familiar with that. Okay? When you study tajweed, when the sheikh mentions, or the teacher, he mentions lam, it has complete idgham, you say, wow, I remember that. You're familiar with that in your first lesson, and now it's becoming confirmed and strengthened, knowledge on top of knowledge. It becomes strong. And you know it even further. And he may not mention at the immediate point about the ghunnah. But then when you start to recite to him, and he tells you, leave off that ghunnah when you're dealing with the lam. And he shows you how to do that. Again, it all comes, Islam supports itself. And the studies of a talib al-ilm likewise do that. Okay? It's important on the way that you learn the information. Going right along, and again, this was put together, taking into consideration what a non-Arab person has to go through in learning the sciences as a talibul ilm, and he doesn't know these things. Some of the Arabs may already know these things growing up. Learning them, it's not even mentioned. Okay? Because it's there. But you and I, those people who didn't grow up in the desert, because even Arabs, if they don't grow up in the desert, they're not familiar with Abjadiyya. They don't use it like that. They use the American way. You know how it happens in the cities. But in the countryside, they're still on Abjadiyya. They still use the number system. They still learn with some old man taking his finger and sticking it in your mouth. Telling you when, make the sound. Okay? So we're the ones that lost the traditional way of learning. So we're going to get it back, you know? We're going to be like hippies, inshallah ta'ala. So, McKean doesn't like that. Anyway. So no gunnah to take us by surprise. We're not going to have any gunnah dealing with lam as a tajweed rule. Okay? Now, it says the canine and incisors, inner up and on the right. Pay attention to what I said. Watch my pen. The canine and incisors. Here, the teacher is showing you exactly where and how you pronounce lam. A lot of people pronounce lam, or think that they're pronouncing lam off just the tip of their tongue. They say la 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 la, right? That's what they say. But in actuality, lam is not pronounced just like that. It's on the edge. See, this is my tongue now. Again, my tongue. Lam is pronounced from using the edge of the tongue. What did I say? The edge of the tongue. Not the tip here. The edge. And I used the right edge, didn't I? Okay? So I said canine and incisors. These are your canine teeth, the sharp canine teeth, and incisors, the choppers and stuff like that. Those are the canine and incisors. Inner up and on the right. They're the inner part of those teeth, not the bottom part. The inner part and on the right. Very light. So that tells us that it's not going to be any shiddah in this letter, right? It's going to be tawassut, right? It's going to be light. Some moderation in that placement of that letter. Jazakumullah khair. So now take your tongue, the edge, and press it on the side. Say al. That's the way we pronounce it. Al. You don't have to move your bottom jaw. People do that. They go, ooh. You don't have to. It's not I'm just being serious. You do that because you think you have to. But keep it straight and just move your tongue. Al. See, that makes you feel the movement of your tongue. Because remember we say we're practicing. You move your tongue like this. And you place it up there. Al. 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 That's what you have to practice. And that's the sound. And that's why it doesn't sound the same a lot of times. When people say, what happened to the L? Something ain't right. You didn't place it up onto the right. In those inner incisors and canines. Very light. You can't do it hard. If you do it hard, you won't get a sound. Okay? So that says, the edge is where the lamb hides. See? That's when the sheikh because this happened to be a problem of mine. Because I say, la 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 la, off the tip of my tongue. And the blind sheikh that I used to study with in Egypt, he used to say, nah, that ain't it. Come close. Right over here. And then, okay, I got it. Because you don't realize exactly how to pronounce this letter. No one tells us. And then when we catch it, we don't know what we did to get it right. So we don't want to have that problem. We want to know exactly where it is and how to get it so it can't hide from us. We know what we're practicing. We're practicing to move our tongue up and place it to the right. Okay? Say al. Al. Allah. Billahi. You see now? Billahi. See, I see some people go like this. When they get it, they go like this. Billahi. Alhamdulillah. But now you know what you should be practicing. Okay, and that is the point with this right here. Okay, so it says, tawassatun and jahrun, fathun istifal, inhiraf, lamun, when with dalaqun say al. Okay, now look, it says, tawassatun and jahrun. What is tawassut? Moderation. So, what this means for us, what is the actual practication of practicalication How do we apply this rule? We apply it by when we place our tongue, the edge of our tongue, up on the side of the gums, right? On the inner gums, we do it lightly. It's a gentle touch. It's not a hard touch. Like I said, if you do it with hardness, you will not get a sound. Say, go try. Say, al. It's not to be done hard. It's light. Then it says, oh, subhanAllah. Tawassutun and jahrun. It's jahrun, loud. Again, you have to bring sound. Lam is one of those letters. If you don't bring enough volume, the sound is lost in other letters. And it's for that reason we have the lam shamsiyah. The letters, I didn't speak about this point, but you have two types of lam as it appears with other letters. Lam qamariyah, right? Like when you say al-Qur'an, that lam, you hear it. But when you say Ar-Rahman or Ar-Rahman, you don't hear. You can't even say Al-Rahman. You can try it. Say Al-Rahman. If you say it fast, it'll say Ar-Rahman. You understand where I'm coming from? Because the lam next to the ra, that will be that complete idgham. Dakhala shay fi shay. The lam will enter upon the ra and you won't hear anything. But there are other letters that you can hear the lam quite clearly, like we say, Al-Qur'an. You hear it from the qaf. It doesn't enter upon it. So those are two. Or Ash-Shamsiyah, Ash-Shams. The lam goes away in those. And that's why we put a shadda on those letters to extend their sound so that the listener would know that there is a lam present in that word. Okay? And that the presence of that lam is to mean the. Okay, to mean the definite article of that thing. I don't want to confuse anybody. So we'll just stop right there. And we'll go on. Tawassutun and jahrun, fathun, istifal. Fathun is opening the mouth like a doorway. Istifal, the tongue has to start flat and it goes back to being flat. Al. And then it actually doesn't have to go back, but it goes from bottom to top. Okay? Then it says inhiraf. Inhiraf is one of the sifat that has no opposite. We want to point this out because you're only going to see it in two letters, in the lam and the ra. Inhiraf means to, munharif is somebody who's playing on the side. He's some type of deviant. Okay? That's what we call him munharif. He's on an edge, playing both sides of the fence, riding the fence. Okay? What it means here as a terminology, it means that the lam sound, when you make it, it goes towards the makhraj of the ra. Okay? And when you say ra, it goes towards the makhraj of the lam. It bends back. Say our. Don't move your tongue that way. You say our. You see the lam, your tongue, the tip of the tongue goes back towards the makhraj of the lam. Right? And when you say al, your tongue, the tip of your tongue is like it's going to the makhraj of ra. You see that? Say al. No niyyah right there. Al. Now say our. Think about what the tongue is doing. When you say our, it's bending backwards, right? Say al. It's going forward, like it's going towards the makhraj of the ra. So that action is called inhiraf. It's inclining towards another makhraj. And this is why sometimes we in America, we pronounce it from a slightly different makhraj. Make sense? Okay. And with dhalaqun, dhalaqun is a type. Dhalaqun are those letters that come off the tip of the tongue, the edge. They don't have to be blocked off by the teeth and these types of things like that, right? Now, excuse me?
The fly off.
Right. They fly off the lips. Now, let's go on. Meme. The next one is kalmun, is meme. Could we go to meme? My mother Mabel mastered math, manipulating meme. She multiplied and by my pops by 40, she had me. Tajweedul Meemun has 3 rules. This you all should know. Idgham, Ikhfa, Idharu. You'll learn them as you go. Meemun's makhraj is my mouth. By this I mean my lips. With ghunna and tawassutun, then jahrun, you can't miss. To make the meme more memeish, use a fathun istifal. Then dhalaqun to make the moves, to make your meme more well. Meme. Again, when we started off this poem, the first thing that we noticed is that meme is pronounced in this whole sentence. It's one of those few odd cases that we got a whole sentence with just the letter meme, or just the letter that we were looking for. It states, my mama Mabel mastered math manipulating meme. Say that. My mama Mabel mastered math manipulating meme. So here, how many times did we say meme? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got to say meme 9 times in one line. Okay? And it's not a lie. Muslims, we don't lie. None of these poems are lies. My mama's name is Mabel. She's a math teacher. She's an English teacher. She used to be, I should say. So, it's nothing that we're lying about. So, the reason why we're doing this line is what? In order for us to practice the makhraj of meme. Say, my mama. No one has a problem finding the makhraj of meme, right? Mastered math. Manipulating meme. She multiplied and by my pops by 40 she had me. So we learn from this line that 40 is the numerical value of meme. That's the only reason for the line. Okay? Next, raise it up, please. It says Tajweedu Meemun has how many rules? 3 rules. This you all should know. Everybody should know. Tajweedu Meemun has 3 rules. This you all should know. What are the rules? Idgham, Idharu. You'll learn them as you go. Don't worry about them right now. Just memorize and go. Okay? Learn them as you go. Meaning, right now is not the time to try to figure out how do 3 rules work with 1 letter. Okay? It's not the time to think about. What the thing to remember here is Tajweedu Meemun has 3 rules. This you all should know at this point. That's what you should know. How to accurately practice those rules? Go to a Tajweed class. Okay? That's the purpose for Tajweed. This is Arabic right here. All right? And that's why we need to have some Islamic schools so that our children can learn these things in the proper time and format. Right? The rules are idgham, ikhfa, idharu. Idgham literally means to enter something into something else. Ikhfa is a satr, to hide something. We talk about cover and concealment. And idharu is to have a sound independent and not relying or mixing with another one. A clear, solid sound. Okay? So that's what those 3 things mean. But how they are practiced in Tajweed, we'll find out later on, insha'Allahu ta'ala. So Tajweedu Meemun has 3 rules. This we all should know. Idgham, ikhfa, idharu. Just memorize and go, or you'll learn them as you go. Meemun's makhraj is my mouth. By this I mean my lips. Here it says it all. What's the makhraj for meme? Okay. Meemun's makhraj is my mouth. And what does he mean by this? The lips. The lips. So then we know that it's going to be dhalaqun, right? Once we've done this enough time, we become experts at listening and knowing what each letter has from its sifat. We know if it's on the lips, it's dhalaqun. It has to be dhalaqun. That's the typo. We're learning that. Right? If it's on the tip of the tongue, it's dhalaqun. Right? So, it says with ghunna and tawassitun, then jahrun. You can't miss. So then here again, you have to have tawassit. You have to have a gentle, subtle touch with the meme. You can't say with shidda. You have to do it gently. Now you put your lips together gently, didn't you? Say They come together so gently they vibrate. Say And this is a problem because if you don't do it right or if you make it vibrate when it shouldn't vibrate, then you've added a sound that shouldn't be there. So we're going to practice how to close that off at times and how to keep it open at times. Okay? So here, that's called ghunna. If you say don't put your lips together so much. It should be like a slight crack. So here, that's the ghunna that you have in your nose. So it says, well, ghunna and tawassitun, then jahrun, you can't miss. If you get these 3 qualities, it's going to sound like a meme. And the jahrun is the loudness, the audibility. To make the meme more memeish, if you want the meme to sound more like it's supposed to sound, use a fath on istifal. Open your mouth and flatten your tongue. Say, You see that? When you open your mouth flat, then it makes it sound, it's clearer that you have that meme sound, right? Then it says, then dhalakun, to make the moves, to make your meme more well. And of course, dhalakun is mentioned here last because it's not used in the pronunciation of the letter, but it is known that it's dhalakun. So there's a point that we know that anything that comes off the lips and the tongue, edge of the tongue, is dhalakun, right? Let's go on. That one's done. Do we have any questions about that? Moving right along, we go on to the noon. Noon. وَالْقَلَمِ وَمَا يَسْطُرُونَ. This noon is very important. The most important letter in Tajweed is noon. What's the most important letter in Tajweed?
Noon.
Okay. That's right. Noon is the most important. That's very important. All the other rules deal with noon. It's the first rule that's taught. للنون إن تسكن وللتنوين أربع أحكام فخذ تبييني. The first rule is dealing with للنون إن تسكن وللتنوين. Tanween is noon, right? So we need to know about noon. It has every tajweed rule is tied to noon. But the one that it uses the most is called idgham. I'm sorry, let me teach it the way we've been doing it. It says, now no one knows the Nile like that navigating noon. A 50 on his compass, idgham on his main tool. Your tongue is up and to the front, the ghunna in the nose, with dhalakun all on the gums and jahrun in the holds. Tawassatun and fathun, the noon has istifal, and knowledge of your place of port will help your noon fare well. Noon. Now, if we go back down and we think about this, it says, now no one knows the Nile like that navigating noon. Check that out. It's just giving you the sound of the N sound again. Now no one, say it. Now no one knows the Nile. Yeah, raise your voices, men. Now no one knows the Nile like that navigating noon. Here, the noon is made to seem like a ship that's in the ocean, a small vessel that's in the ocean traveling about. Why? Because the noon travels from letter to letter, changing the way that letter is pronounced based on the relationship it's going to have with that letter. So sometimes it shows up, man amana. You see, the noon comes, amana is right there. Sometimes it shows up, it's like man yaqulu, right? And it comes, man, the ya shows up, so that it goes. Mirabbi. The lamb, the noon comes with the ra, and the noon is gone still. So we have the different way the noon is used in the Arabic language. So that's why at the last line it says, and knowledge of your place of port. When you know what that letter is and the rule tied to each letter, then you will know how you have to fix your mouth up to pronounce that noon. And that's why we decided to put the tajweed rule to each letter as you learn them. So you would know very specifically, very meticulously, the rule for each letter. That's what we mean here. This is what the importance of learning them letter by letter. Just slowing down just a little bit to learn the letters. Okay? So, it says, like that navigating noon, a 50 on his compass. By this stage, we should know what that means. What does it mean? Why is a 50 on his compass? The numeric value is 50. And why is a compass? Because he's sea-bearing vessel. They always use compasses to get around, okay? Idghamun, his main tool. Why does it say main tool and not his rule, like we told the other ones? Because noon uses every tajweed rule, okay? But his main rule and his main tool that he uses is idgham. Dakhala shay fi shay. Why? Because he's entering on the other letters. He's entering on them. That's why idgham. Okay? So, with dhalakun all on the gums. So now we know that noon is coming from the gums. Okay? I'm sorry. Your tongue is up and to the front, the ghunna in the nose. Jazakumullah khair wa astaghfirullahil azim. The tongue is up and to the front. Okay, now, he's making the noon like a sail. If anybody's been in a ship, you know, well, these new ships, they don't have sails. But if you've been on an old type ship, you know, you have to move the sail a certain way if you want to get it going in a different direction. So he says your tongue is up and to the front. Say, an. What happened? Your tongue came up and it went to the front. Right? And And it says, with dhalakun, and the gunna in your nose. The gunna is here. What do we say? How do we describe gunna? Gunna is capturing the air in your nose. And when it's trapped, it's like what do you call those things? The pianos, the organs. The boom, 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 boom. They have the air blowing in them. The reason why the sound comes out different based on how much pressure you put in your nose. Do you understand that? So because your nose lets the air come out. If the air comes out, you get a different sound. Where you blow this air out. So you say, an. Do you feel it that you're holding it in your nose? And you sound like a third grader who's got a stuffy nose, right? And. So your tongue is up and to the front, the gunna in the nose. With dhalakun all on the gums. And shidda or jahrun in the holds, right? So you have here the dhalakun. What is dhalakun? It flies off the lips or? On the tongue. Oh, no. On the edge of the tongue, right? Dhalakun is off the lips, off the edge of the tongue. So right here, not only does he mean by that it's dhalakun, the letter, but he means the tip of the tongue is where? All on the gums. Up in the front. Say an. Where's your tongue? All on the gums. You do not touch your teeth when you say noon. It's up and to the front. Up, above your buck teeth. All clearly on the gums. What? The tip of your tongue clearly touches the gum. Say an. And you have, this is a clear gunnah here. Okay? So, and jahrun in the holds. When you're reciting the Quran, you will hold that noon. At least two. Okay? So you have to have that jahrun. It has to be clear that the noon is. The thing about tajweed, and I'm not trying to steal from the tajweed class, but the thing about tajweed, the listener should hear crisply clear every letter that you're reciting. There should not be any doubt what it is that you're saying when you're articulating and when you're reciting. Every letter, they say it should swim the sound over every letter. So it's as if the person is reading while you're reciting. You understand my point? Because they can hear and they can enjoy that. Oh yes, I can see exactly and hear what is being said. Because you're pronouncing it. You have clarity in your enunciations. Does that make sense? You're giving every letter haqqahu. Every letter, it's right. Min sifatin laha wa mustahaqqahu. From its sifat and those things that are tied to its sifat, like here in noon, as the letter changes, as it mixes with each other letter. Okay? That's what we call tajweed. Then it goes here. Tawassatun and fathun. The noon has istifal. The noon starts off flat in the tongue. Noon, say an. So you open that mouth. So that's that fathun. Tawassat, you can't hit it hard. That's going to be, that's an id. You see, the tongue goes almost to the exact same makhraj. The dal makhraj, say id. Say da. Say na. Same makhraj, right? One is a little higher, one is a little lower. Say na. Say da. Is it not the same place? Feel it. Id. In. The tongue changes slightly, but the placement is the same. But what changes the sound is the sifat. How you twist your mouth up to make it. So here, with dal, say id. It's shidda. You hit it and you punch it, right? Now you're saying in. It's tawassut, and you're not punching it, you're placing. And you're letting it get full contact. Say in. Id. In. You hear the difference? You feel the difference, which is more important. In. Know what you're doing. So here it is, tawassutun and fathun. The noon has istifal, flatness, the flat tongue, right? And knowledge of your place of port will help your noon fare well. So if you want this noon to, like we said, we made it like a ship. A ship has to go to a port. Those ports are the different letters. So knowledge of those letters that you're going to will help you pronounce the noon properly, which is the basis and the fundamental of all tajweed. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, let's go to tafsir.